I've been hiding in a shell, I've been feeling stuck as hell.
How do you get out of your own trail? Tell me.
Man, I feel overwhelmed. The older that you get, the more you know the mental debts. Looking in the mirror, the voice chirping in your ear.
Let's start, James, with an interview for a Russian, like a type of adult animation channel. It's called 2x2, and I hope we'll have a lot of fun, and you'll tell us a lot about Rare Americans.
Yes, looking forward to it.
What's your favorite animation, and what's your favorite character, and why?
You know what? I mean, outside of like, you know, your usual, like the cartoons that you grow up with, there's a guy who I really like named Steve Cutts. He's got he built like a massive YouTube following. He's got like 1.4 million followers, and he has a couple amazing pieces, one called Happiness, another called The Walk Home, that he does all the writing and animation for, and it's become like a really popular YouTube channel. So that's probably like an outside of the box answer, but I think he's really talented.
Now tell us about Rare Americans. Like, what is Rare Americans all about?
I think that storytelling is a big one for us. We always try to have some sort of meaningful story in our songs, and often our videos will also follow some sort of a narrative. So people, they seem to really like to be able to kind of follow the stories in our songs. Besides that, I would say that just trying to be as genuine as possible, just trying to be kind of raw, genuine, and authentic. We're not really trying to fool anybody. You know, we're not like a massive major label artist or anything. We're pretty independent. It's our team who really does, you know, everything from kind of running, you know, the business side of the band to the music and making these animations. So I really think we just try to be as genuinely ourselves as we possibly can.
Tell me, how did you start making music, like even before the band?
I was playing in the Western Hockey League, and every night I had a lot of time kind of to myself because we had curfew at like 9 or 10. And so I bought a guitar, and I literally learned one cover song. And then from there, I literally took the same chords, and 15 minutes later, I wrote a song. And it was just like a really incredible process. And I didn't know if it would ever happen again. And sure enough, like 2 days later, I wrote another one, and then another one, and then another one. And I just became like totally addicted to it.
And from here, like the logical question is that how did the idea of creating a group came by?
When you're writing songs and it's you and your guitar in a bedroom, eventually you want to, you know, you have the dream of a band and playing with other people and what that feels like. So I think it was, you know, almost a natural progression for any songwriter to want to be able to add other elements to your music. And it's also fun to collaborate with different people. So yeah, I was also really interested in recorded music opposed to just playing in my bedroom. So you know, when you start recording music, you start adding drums and bass and other instruments, and then it's like, hey, well, if I ever want to play a show, I better find some people who can actually play these parts. So it kind of started from there. And then once you get a taste of being in a band and playing with other people, it's just so fun that it's like, hey, I don't want to just play in my bedroom. It's so much better when we get other people involved.
And tell me, what were your first steps, and what were difficulties on your, like, you know, on the path of forming a band?
I think when you're first starting a band, no one's getting paid, obviously, because you have no fans. So it's pretty consistent that band members come and they go, and you know, people are changing a lot too. I think in your early 20s, so it's hard to keep people around. I think that's challenging. And yeah, ultimately finding people that you just totally jive with and that you trust and that you think adds something to your project, and that everybody, I feel it's important that everybody has the same goals and visions. I know from an early age, I really wanted this to be my life. And if you're playing with someone who only wants it to be a hobby, it's going to be a challenge working together. So you have to find people that are like, you know what, man, I want this more than anything. So that was challenging. It took a long time to find the right people. I think that you always have self-doubts. Even now, I have self-doubts. I think that's just natural, and it's probably a good and healthy thing. And I think, when you're first starting and you have no fans, and you tell your family, I'm going to be a professional musician, pretty much, I think most families are like, that's probably not a good life path. So it takes a long time of just doing it yourself, because eventually, once you get to a certain place where you've made now enough fans and you're starting to get a bit of a reaction, people start to look back and be like, oh man, I shouldn't have doubted you those years ago. And I think it's, a lot of people who are able to craft a career in this industry. A lot of it is because they didn't quit and they didn't give up, and they just kept doing it. Because I think that it requires enough just repetition and putting in the time and the years and the different experiences in order to grow a fan base. It takes a really long time. 3-4 years later, once we started getting record label offers, and we started being contacted by big record labels, Republic Records, Atlantic Records. I think that's when my family was like, oh, you guys, obviously the people at the highest level are interested in what you're doing. So I feel like that was a bit of a light switch moment where they were like, okay, I get this now.
In your music videos, there's a story about like a professional tennis player. So in a sense, it's about you, but well, tennis instead of hockey, basically.
Well, I grew up a tennis player too. So I played, that was a true story. I played both tennis and hockey at the same level. And then once hockey kind of took over my life, playing in the Western Hockey League, I had to quit playing tennis.
But tell us, how did you write your first album?
The first one, I was playing in a different band actually at the time. And then I took a trip with my brother, Jared, who's 11 years older than me. We took a trip to the Caribbean, and at this point in time, we were living very different lives. We lived in different cities. So, I kind of didn't know what we were going to do for 10 days together, to be honest. And then, so I told him, I said, hey, I'll bring my guitar and I'll see if maybe we can write a song. And he is not a musician or anything like that. I just thought it would be fun to do together. And then sure enough, 10 days later, we wrote 15 songs. We just spent literally the entire trip. I don't even think we went in the ocean. We just literally wrote songs. We just all day long for 12 hours a day. And that pretty much ended up becoming what the first record would be.
How the new album is different? Like, I mean, your progression, like how you as a musician different in your latest release, basically.
I think that as you start to record more, and we started producing our own music at our own studio, so we started experimenting with a lot more stuff. And I think as you just, you grow as an artist, you have more options, that when you're making your first record, you don't really know what you're doing. So you're kind of just doing it, honestly, almost with a blindfold on, and your good gut feel. And then as you make more and more songs and more albums, you start to have more tools, I guess, in your toolkit. I think especially as a singer, I really developed, I think, a lot as a singer between the first and the third album. So I felt like I had more options that I could do with my voice than I could maybe on the first one. And I think the same goes for musically. We just tried different instruments. We tried to experiment a little bit more. We took influences from artists that, we wouldn't have taken on the first record. And so I think all of these things and time and experience, you grow and you have more tools really available.
What is the process of writing the song? Because we are all amazed by the deep message you have in your songs. How you come up with it? Like, I mean, is it your experience or?
I guess, yeah, it's like, I've tried my whole life. I've always thought experience is kind of the best way to learn about the world and to have different perspectives on people. And I'm a very open-minded person. I'm a very curious person as well. So You know, I'm totally down to go to some country no one would ever think to go to on a vacation. I'd probably rather go there than going to Mexico or something. You know, I've just kind of always been like that, and that's probably taken me through a lot of experiences that maybe a lot of people don't typically have. And I'm also very fascinated by people and the stories of people, and you know what makes them feel things.
Tell me about your animated style of videos. How it did came about?
It came about our first record. We decided to do one animated video. It was called Cats, Dogs, and Rats, and then the rest of the videos were live action. And it seemed that people really gravitated towards the animated video. So then we sat back and we thought about it, and two reasons. One, we were telling stories in our songs, and a lot of these stories were quite big. So in order to do that in a live action, we would have had to have like a Taylor Swift budget. Like we would have needed $1 million to make these videos, and it would have taken 8 months to do. So we thought, okay, that doesn't make sense. Okay, let's look at animation. It allows us to tell the stories we want to tell, and we can do it on a budget, and we can do it quite quickly. And also, we thought that it was a little less crowded. Out of music artists, you know, 9 out of 10 are doing live action performance videos. It's largely about them. And so we thought, hey, there's so many artists out there. Maybe this is a way that we can stand out a little bit more, and it's not going to be as crowded of a space.
Do all band members have their alter egos animated?
Almost. We're going to do that here probably for the next record. Right now, it's just me and Lubo. Who's from Slovakia. He's from Slovakia. He's got a character, and then the other two are going to have characters in soon.
Tell me, what do you know about Russia? Like anything about culture, language, music, and food?
I have been to St. Petersburg before. Yeah, so I was there when I was a really young child, and I just remember how stunningly beautiful it is. The architecture was like just out of this world. We certainly don't have architecture similar in Canada. It's so much older and so beautiful. And the music scene, I know, what are they? Little Big, that's what they're called, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I saw Little Big play actually, and there was another artist that they opened for Oliver Tree, Tommy Cash.
Yes, exactly. They have a collaboration actually.
Yeah. So I saw Tommy Cash open for Oliver Tree in Vancouver, Canada, and I know that they're all part of kind of the Little Big group, and so I know that Oliver Tree just did a collaboration with them, and it looked like it's doing very well. So it seems like the Russian music scene is alive and well and good, and yeah, and obviously I admire a lot of athletes from Russia. I'm a big tennis fan, so Daniil Medvedev, I'm a big fan of, and I saw that I just saw him play actually in America, where he won a tournament here at Indian Wells. And then besides that, I've been a big fan of like Murat Safin over the years, and so I follow the sports world quite closely, and Russia obviously has some pretty unbelievable athletes. So.
Do you see any of your animation videos taking place in Russia for the future or something like this?
Totally, why not? I mean, we wrote a song called Berlin, so that took place in Berlin, and there's no reason why we couldn't make a song that takes place in Russia somewhere. We just need to write a song, I guess. But I feel like with this band, anything can happen. So. There's a good chance that we could have a full album take place in Russia. I don't know.
We hope so. We hope so that will happen. Tell me, James, what's your musical taste and what band has influenced you? And well, as a band as well?
Good question. I mean, I've had all sorts of different inspirations over the years. As a kid, our parents would often play, kind of like the legends like Bob Dylan and the Beatles and Tom Waits and Joni Mitchell and artists like that. And then my brother Jared, he introduced us to punk rock. So, you know, bands like Rancid and Pennywise and Bad Religion. And then I kind of found hip hop myself as a kid. I remember, you know, hearing Eminem and just being absolutely blown away. Actually, I remember in Russia, we were there on vacation and there were so many bootlegged Eminem records. I remember everybody was trying to get the bootlegged discs of Eminem. I remember that distinctly. So yeah, those were some of my influences growing up. And then it changes now, you know, every year. I feel like for this record specifically, RA3, I was listening to a lot of Oliver Tree. I found him and thought he was really cool. Louis Del Mar, I thought was really interesting as an artist. I really liked his first record a lot. And then I also, even stuff like J. Cole, who's kind of a conscious rapper. You know, I started listening to his music, and I think that that came in a little bit as an inspiration. So really, it's all over the map.
What's the story behind the song "Walking and Talking"? Like, it seems like really personal.
Yeah, it's like, you know, that's just the mental fight, you know, that we all face. Like, I think as human beings, that's one thing literally every one of us have in common with one another is we go through highs, we go through lows, and sometimes it feels like you're literally just trapped in your own head. And you can't get out of it. It's so hard to get out of the holes that sometimes we dig for ourselves. So that's what that song is about. I remember just being in a time where I was really frustrated and I was having a hard time, and I just didn't feel very good. And I was having a lot of inner dialogue between my own ears. You know, then I wrote the lyric, like, you got to get the hell out of your own way. And I think that's so true, that as human beings, so much of the time, it's not external factors, it's internal factors that prevent us from doing ultimately what we want to do. And if we could literally just get out of our own way, you know, we would probably achieve what we want to achieve. So that was kind of the idea of that song.
Baggage and Rhyme Kitchen, they're connected, right?
Yeah, kind of. In a way, Baggage was a song that was a true story. I took a trip to the Philippines, and I met someone there on vacation, and we ended up having this great chemistry. And she had just experienced a real tragedy in her life, and so she kind of confided in me for kind of the first time she had confided in anybody, really. And so we had kind of like a nice connection, and I was glad I was able to kind of help her out a bit, and she was able to help me. And then obviously she lived in Europe, so we live in different sides of the world. So at the end of the trip, it was kind of like, you know, it's there's nothing we could really do about it.
Tell us about living in Canada and how the music scene there.
Canada is a beautiful country. For anybody who hasn't been, it's one of the nicest countries in the world. Our people are extremely friendly. It's just like a 10 out of 10 place, especially in Vancouver. So I live on the west coast of Canada, right on the ocean here in Vancouver. It's a really beautiful city. It's not a huge city, but we have the mountains, we have the ocean. You can walk around everywhere. It's a really biking friendly city, so everybody's got a bike here. It's very outdoorsy, and yeah, it's honestly just it's hard to beat. And the music scene, I think, is pretty solid. It's in Vancouver, I think in the past it was probably a little better, because Vancouver unfortunately has gotten so expensive. Over the last 10 years, Vancouver has really gotten expensive, so a lot of artists have left Vancouver, but we still, you know, we get all the shows, from the biggest shows in stadiums to small club shows. Every artist comes and plays Vancouver, so that makes it really great as an artist to live here. I go to a ton of concerts, and You know, I always try to look to different inspiration to see as many artists as possible. So, and then besides that, obviously 3 of the biggest artists in the world, Drake, Justin Bieber, and The Weeknd, are from Canada. So I think Canada is doing pretty well right now in the overall music world.
Man, I feel overwhelmed.
So, James, in your music videos, there's a lot of animation characters who sing and who have their own, like, a voice. In Russia, there's a lot of local animation, especially old one. So the question we have is quite unusual. I'll present you with image of like local characters, and I want you to guess what kind of song they would sing out of their way they look, basically.
My God, that's a tough one. Okay, let me try.
So here is the first one. Can you see it, James?
Yeah. Well, it's Winnie the Pooh, man. I know who Winnie the Pooh is.
Yeah, it's actually a Russian version of Winnie the Pooh. Yeah, right.
All right, man. Well, he's singing about, like, you know, honey and having a good old time with just his day-to-day life. This is like a nice children's song.
It is, but would you guess like the type of song? Like, I mean, is it rap or rock or R&B?
Oh no, it's definitely like polka or something.
It is. It's actually like very close to rap. Like
oh,
yes.
Rap. Wow.
Если я чешу в затылке, не беда. В голове моей опилки, да. Хотят мои опилки, но...
Wow. Man, your Winnie the Pooh is probably cooler than ours.
Anyway, let us go forward. The next one is quite funny as well. Do you know those guys?
It looks like a weird version of Bugs Bunny.
James, actually, in a way, you're right, but not a Bugs Bunny. It's actually a weird version of Tom and Jerry. It's hard to guess, but what they sing a lot of songs, but which one they remarkably?
I could have seen this guy as a rapper, man, in the pink shirt, but you just hit me with rap, so I don't think that's the answer. Is it like death metal or something?
It's connected with a holiday coming up.
So it's Christmas songs, like really like jingles.
It is a Christmas song sang by a Russian pop star. But the funny thing is that like a rabbit is a Santa Claus, well, Russian Santa Claus, and a wolf is like his granddaughter. And he's smoking as well. Okay, the next one. What do you think about this intelligent guy?
He looks like Kermit the Frog.
In a sense, actually, he is.
He's singing like he's like Sesame Street or something like that.
Well, it's kind of, yes, like a children, like a really happy cartoon, like a lot about like kindness and stuff like that, basically.
Okay, so he sings sad lyrical songs. That birthday is unfortunately only once a year. Oh, poor guy. He seems a little sad.
He is, and he sings like a really lyrical song about like a birthday. So yeah, the next one is, what do you think about this girl? A woman.
She seems like the female version of like Sherlock Holmes or something. Like this is like a mystery. She's solving like complex crimes and murders.
Oh, that's a very interesting theory. But actually, she's like a bad villain.
Okay, yeah, she seems she could be villainous as well. Yep. It looks like stop motion animation.
Absolutely. It's like a doll, actually.
Yeah.
And she sings about the song, which is famous in Russia, about the fact that you cannot get famous with a good deed. So you like it's not a good thing to do, basically.
Man, I feel overwhelmed.
So it will be really quick. What would you prefer, to play a local gig, a big gig, or a concert in a small friendly bar?
I've played enough of those small friendly bars, so I would definitely say big gig.
Okay, we got you. What balalaika or babushka? And do you know what is this?
One is like a scarf or something, right?
Okay, it's a weird thing because in English it is a scarf, but in Russian it's a granny.
Okay. And what's the other one? What's balalaika?
Okay, balalaika is a Russian guitar. Like, you know,
Okay.
like the one, like the traditional play with kind of like a triangle form, basically.
Oh yeah, I got it. Okay, well, I'm definitely going balalaika.
Okay, so it's been Halloween like quite a few months ago. So tell me, for you, is it trick or treat?
I like Halloween. Yeah. I dressed as Harry Potter as a kid. I remember that. I've dressed as John McEnroe a few times in my day, the old Johnny Mac tennis player. And if I had to go vampires or zombies, I'd probably be a vampire.
Football or hockey?
I would probably definitely go hockey.
Burgers or pizza? Which is your favorite?
Definitely pizza.
South Park or Simpsons?
Tough one. They're both like totally legends, but I'd have to go Simpsons.
Is it Marvel or DC for you?
That is a really tough one. You know what? I'm probably gonna have to go DC just because I like Batman a lot, and I think that even the new Joker movie was like so haunting, and I think it's just such a strong franchise that I'm gonna go DC.
Can you send your greetings to 2x2 fans?
Hey everyone, it's Rare Americans. Watch our animated videos on 2x2. Happy festival season.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.